I've been driving for 3 days solid.
Play the theme music. Hello and welcome to this episode of Tripology. I'm Alun and I'm here with the ever logistical Adam.
Alan, mate, that car has become an extension of myself. I've just spent so much effing time in that car, and I'll be honest with you, it's getting pretty difficult. It's getting pretty difficult to stay awake.
Well, give us some context. You say that car as if you're some sort of vehicular centaur, but what car is it? Where are you?
I feel like I know how a Transformer feels. Let's put it that way. It's a car that I rented, that I spoke about on last week's episode, and I rented it for originally, I think it was about 16, 17 days, but I made the decision to extend the vehicle rental. Now, one thing you will know is that it's much cheaper to rent a vehicle or to deliver the vehicle back to the same drop-off point that you rent it from. So as long as the collection point and the delivery point are exactly the same, you will pay significantly less in New Zealand, sometimes as much as $1,000 or $2,000. You know, in some cases you can choose a different drop-off point, which is obviously convenient if you're going to do a really long road trip from point A to point B, but it's going to set you back a couple of thou, Alan, and I don't have that kind of money.
And driving it back all the way to your origin sounds like a bargain for someone who loves driving as much as you. Optimus Prime little character with a backpack.
But do you know what the problem was? I was looking at the drive, right, and you got Google Maps, which is telling you, how long it's going to take and that kind of thing. And just because on paper it was doable, 24 hours, by the way. So I thought, if I average 8 hours a day, that's only 3 days of driving. As long as I leave Queenstown by, obviously 3 days before it needs to be back, it should be fine. But the reality of driving for 8, then what is 10 because of roadworks, because of lunch break stops, because of, any other thing that goes wrong, it's probably a regret. I would say it's a regret. I mean, halfway through I was thinking, why didn't you just pay the extra money to drop it off further down the country? But anyway, who knows? You live and you learn.
Well, it's one way to see New Zealand. I'm imagining you in that vehicle, driving about Mount Doom out of your right window, the Shire out of the left, a kiwi bird crossing the road. It sounds like such an effervescently wonderful time, Adam. But, when you are driving, locked in a cabinet, driving around, it will get tired, it will be hard, it will be difficult. And I received a panicked text from you saying, we've got an episode of Tripology coming up. I'm stuck in a car. I'm tired. I've not slept. I've not done anything really apart from drive on this vehicular highway. And I thought, well, what should we talk about on Tripology? Because I've had a wild time as well. It's been all hectic and crazy. So I thought there's one thing I like to do. It's sort of, some people call it a sabotage. Some people say it's the worst thing that Tripology's ever cooked up. But I've got a story from back in my time in Brazil, and I want to crowbar it into an Alun's miscellaneous travel item.
Alun's miscellaneous travel item. Oh yeah, it's the one thing I can't live without, I swear.
Amazing, mate. I cannot wait. This is, if it's not my favourite item, it's definitely my favourite theme tune.
Yeah, the theme tune's nice, isn't it? That's a real, genuine human singer made of flesh and bones singing a song for us here at Tripology, and I think they're wonderfully talented. Alun's miscellaneous travel item. It's essentially a vehicle for us to talk about whatever we want in the travel space, much like we do on every show, except there's an element of narcissism to it. It's my travel item, listen to me. So, Adam, something happened to me in Brazil that it had the capabilities, it had all the ingredients to shake a human being to their very core. It had the possibility of rendering me never quite the same again. And I want to know what you think about it. I want to know what you would do. I want to tell you the story. And I want the tripological audience, when they're hearing it, to really feel the gravity, the stress, the pain, the terror of the situation. And we'll go from there, okay?
Yeah, my goodness. God, this sounds grave. This sounds like a serious story that I would have expected to already know. But lo and behold, we've got a podcast and you can broadcast it live.
Sometimes when terrible things happen to me, I sort them into categories. Near-death experience, Alun's miscellaneous travel item. And this fell on the latter side of the fence, so I'm looking forward to sharing it with you now. Let me lay out some context.
Okay, wicked. Looking forward to it. Oh, I'm a bit scared, actually, to be honest, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm a man who likes to eat, and I gathered a couple of friends, one of whom I knew, one of whom I didn't know, and we thought, let's go to a restaurant. But it was one of our last days in Itakari, so we thought, let's go to a fancy restaurant, let's have an Italian meal. Now, I know what you're thinking. Italian in Brazil, you absolute uncultured swine.
Yeah, because it's you, you always get a free pass. That goes without saying. I mean, you can do whatever you want all the time and you will always get a free pass. Maybe that's a mistake I'm making. But I would say that something as iconic as a pizza that, you know, let's be honest, there are some fantastic examples around the world, some Italian food being cooked in great places. Brazil, known for its food, maybe it does good Italian as well.
No, but you know, sometimes you're out with some people, everyone sort of fancied this Italian. We walk past it every day on our way to surfing. We thought, let's treat ourselves. I actually messaged you frantically while I was sat at the Italian.
I remember.
Because I wanted you to help choose a wine for us.
You know what? I even, when I found that text, because I didn't respond right away, did I? I'm sorry that I didn't see the text until later on. I thought to myself, this has all been worth it. You know, the 10 years in the wine industry, all of my studies, my qualifications, the tastings, just to know that you care about my opinion when it comes to something like wine. It's, brought a smile to my face, and I'm ashamed to say I couldn't be of any help.
Well, I echoed a very similar sentiment, past tense echoed, because you let me down a little bit. I was sat on that table with, attractive people who I, enjoyed the company of. And I said, don't worry about the choosing the wine, guys. I've got a bit of a connection here. I don't know if you've heard of Tripology Podcast, but the guy on there, he's kind of my best friend, and he knows everything about wine. So I'll let him choose the wine list. Just bear with me. He always texts back straight away.
I know, but
we waited quite a long time for you to text back, my friend. It was getting a little bit awkward. People were complaining that they were hungry. People were like, oh, should we just choose anywhere? I was like, no. Adam will get back to us. No such message ever came. We chose whatever bottle of wine. We did a little, just chose one randomly.
Okay. Yeah, what people tend to do in this situation is they'll look at the cheapest, and then they'll look at the most expensive, and then they'll go back up towards where the cheapest wines are, and they'll usually choose the second or third one down.
That was it. Yep. Second 30-o, that little one. Beautiful, delicious red treat.
That does sound Italian.
Yeah. So we chose a random wine. That came. We were enjoying a meal. Now, one of the features of this Italian restaurant is that there was a live band playing music.
Okay.
Like serenading the diners with gorgeous Brazilian themes, sometimes with a cheeky Italian twist. It was like very high level live music. A singer with a keyboard player and a saxophone and some drums, yeah?
Okay, yeah, I'm picturing it well.
You can imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. You know what all those instruments are. You can imagine people playing them. You imagine us sat down in a posh Italian restaurant. The scene is set.
Drinking a nondescript wine that no one wanted.
Exactly, yeah. Have you ever played the game, What Are the Odds?
I think I have. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going to go in and explain the version that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and if it's the wrong version, we'll just explain the correct one afterwards.
Because I want to be involved. I want to have played a game that other backpackers play, because famously, I don't play any games.
I understand.
Yeah. So basically, someone will say, what are the odds that you're going to do this, or this? And then do they then get given like a bracket, sort of it's either 1 to 20, and you have to guess the right number. And if you get it right, you got to do it.
Exactly. Pick your own number. So if you really don't want to do something, you say, oh, the odds are 1 in a million. You go 3, 2, 1, both say a number. And if you land by fucking pure happenstance on the same number, then you have to do the thing. So we could play a game now, Adam, for example.
Okay.
What are the odds you book a flight immediately to where I am from New Zealand and we just meet each other tomorrow?
50 to 1.
50 to 1. So we go 3, 2, 1,
6.
43. Exactly, right? So it's a shame you don't have to get on a plane, yeah?
Yeah. 50 to 1, that's about fair. But yeah, okay, we understand.
Yeah. So we're there, we've got our wine, we're waiting for our food, and my friend says to me, a Frenchman, okay, he goes, what are the odds that you get up and like take the microphone and do a song?
Okay. All right. And you do have a very good voice. You're a musician and a performer. So I think no. It's just not the.
Well, but contextually, this is a band that's been paid to play at a restaurant. They're doing a set. And it would be so wildly inappropriate for anyone to get involved. So basically, I say the odds are like 50 to 1, I said.
Okay.
Same as you actually said about New Zealand, right? Like high odds, no chance. I'm not going to do that. It would be really inappropriate, yeah?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, it would just be maybe slightly lower odds for you because of the things I just mentioned, whereas I would probably say 1,000 to 1 because there's absolutely no way I'd get up on that stage even if I was on my own.
Right, yeah. So I backed myself as a musician and I went 50 to 1, baby. I'm ready to go.
Okay, gotcha. So 50 to 1, that's still pretty high.
And then we start counting down. We go 3, 2, and on about 2, everything went into slow motion. And it was like, I could see the Frenchman staring at me, and I like saw a little glimmer in his eye, like he was reaching into my soul and pulling out a number. I felt a deep sense of trepidation as he both at the same time, I couldn't stop it. I was moving my lips and he was echoing every movement, and we both at the same time went 27.
Oh my God.
And now look, I'm a man who there was no chance. As soon as we said the same number, there was no chance I wasn't doing this. And as a result of that, my body immediately had the fight or flight response of having to go and do it. So straight away, I start like sweating. I'm like, oh God, no. Like I'm starting to barter with myself. I'm starting to like try and figure it out. It was horrible immediately because I knew we both said 27. That means I've got to go get that microphone. I got to get on that stage. I got to do a song.
Oh my God, that's incredible. That is incredible. I mean, like, hats off to you though, mate, because there are probably the vast majority of people would still say the correct number and then they would back out immediately. They go, oh yeah, but look, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. We were joking, right? What are the chances, really? Well, actually, about 27 to 1, apparently.
50 to 1, yeah. 1 in 50 chance. But the thing is, we've kind of prefaced this by saying, oh, I'm a musician, so all that sort of stuff. There are some people that would have no problem going and asking to do a song, and they might even quite enjoy it. But let's just look at the facts. I'm not a singer. I play the bass guitar. I don't know any songs. I don't know any songs through to completion. I don't know the lyrics to any songs. I don't know how to play any songs, man. I once played guitar for an old people's home, like 3 years ago, and I learned a Cat Stevens song. But apart from that, I'm like racking my brains thinking, do I know all the words to that song even? Would they know how to play that song? Probably not. So what am I going to do at fucking a cappella? It was a nightmare, man. I'm like, absolutely, like, I don't know what to do. I don't do songs, man. And I'm here in this restaurant and I've got to get up on stage and sing. It's horrible.
God, it is so sweet. I really feel like you're backed into a corner, and I wish I was there with you, but I don't know what I would have suggested, honestly. I mean, I probably would have jumped in and said, he's not doing it. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. But I know you would have still gone,
The French guy, he said, dude, this is fucked. You absolutely don't have to do it. Don't worry.
You've already shit yourself on a bus. I mean, you don't...
yeah, exactly. He goes, this is too much. Like, it's a freak accident. We both know what are the odds. It's like, oh, what are the odds? It's a fun game. Don't worry about it. I said, no, that's not how the game works. You gave me a chance. I could have said 1 in 100,000. I could have said 1 in a million, but I decided to say 1 in 50. Those were the odds. That's it. And I want to call out, if anyone in the tropological audience has ever gone back on a What Are the Odds game, what kind of human being are you? Because those were the odds. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, wow. What did you think it's like? It's maybe quite low impact. What was giving you the most anxiety? Was it actually performing a song, or was it negotiating, or entering into talks with the band?
Well, that was also another layer, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they knew that they didn't speak it, they just spoke Portuguese, right? Pretty much, that was likely. But the biggest anxiety was the fact I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't know how to get through a song. I had no idea. But there was a moment where I had, like when you've got a problem to solve, you're in a high pressure situation, sometimes your brain pulls some wonderful shit out of the bag.
Yeah.
And I was sat there drinking my wine, little bead of sweat dripping down my brow, and I thought, oh my God, I've got it.
Okay.
Oh my God, I have got it. And my anxiety turned to excitement, Adam. Excitement because I'd beaten the game and I'd won. It was all perfect. I knew exactly what to do. I got up, I tipped my spaghetti on the floor, and I got up to the band, and I said one of the most genius things that I've ever had the joy of saying. Shall I reveal it after a meditation break? I think we all need to take a brief moment to relax.
I think so.
Let's go on a brief meditation break.
If you love the podcast as much as we love you, please could you take the time to rate the show on your favourite podcasting platform?
Yeah, go and give it 5 stars. Everyone else has. We're just waiting on you.
Thanks for supporting us. It means the world to us.
Like a plate of spaghetti tumbling to the floor, allow your conscious mind to return into your brain as I am there, striding up to the band with my plan in hand. What do you do in this situation, Adam? What's your go-to?
So, just talk to me about where we are. So you're asking me, what do I do from the very beginning, or what do I do when I've already said the correct number and now have to deal with the fallout?
You've landed yourself in a what are the odds situation, yeah.
Okay, so there's been a couple of what are the odds that I've lost or won, depending on how, what your perspective is. They usually involve getting naked.
Okay.
So, I would say the stakes are probably lower, depending on the environment, surrounding environment. If I had to sing a song, I would try and get out my own way. I think I would be, my goodness, would I be embarrassed? But, I was looking at some people recently on a dance floor, and I was enjoying myself, right? I was sort of standing on the edge of a dance floor and just perusing and having a little look around, everyone enjoying themselves. And I landed on a couple of guys that were going hell for leather. I mean, they were really grooving, shaking and moving, hands in their air, or hands in the air. Obviously, they were drunk. And I thought, my goodness, they can't dance at all. They've got absolutely no rhythm. And then this little voice entered my head, and it said, but they're having more fun than you are, so what's it fucking matter? And I just checked myself and I thought, yeah, too right. So in that situation, mate, I would employ those tactics and I'd go, look, you're going to embarrass yourself quite probably, but just get out there and enjoy it.
Do you think that those two dancers had employed their tiny friends to go up behind people and whisper that to them as they looked judgmentally on? A little voice came to me. It was their mate Benjamin behind. They're having more fun than you. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I wouldn't have liked to be in that situation at all. I would have tried to avoid it at all costs. Dare I say, I might have even taken the Frenchman up on his offer to retract any sort of, But I love the fact that you went through with it. I hope you did. I mean, we haven't heard the end of the story, but
I go up to the one who looked like the ringleader, the guy with a microphone and a keyboard, and I say,
Giuseppe.
yeah. I said, hello, sir. It's my friend's birthday. I pointed at the Frenchman from across the room.
Uh-huh.
I said, I would love the opportunity to sing him happy birthday. And they went, birthday. And I said, yes, birthday. Do you know how to play happy birthday? And then I took the microphone and I went and sang Happy Birthday to piano music, to everything. And I sang Happy Birthday directly to the Frenchman from start to finish. And that is a song, Adam. That is the song of Happy Birthday.
It is. I think it's actually the most famous song in the world. Maybe the most played, and it's copyrighted, I believe. But
no one can deny it. But isn't that the perfect solution? Isn't that the ideal way to get out of that situation? It's a song that is very, very brief, very, very well known, undeniably a song. Everyone knows it. It transcends language barriers. It embarrassed the Frenchman a little bit because I was singing it to him, and we got a free slice of cake.
No, I think, you know, even if you'd given me hours and hours and hours to come up with something, I wouldn't have thought of anything that was more genius than that. Yeah, it's appropriate on all fronts. I'm sure you did a fantastic job, and I hope it was fun. I mean, was it fun in the end?
Well, the whole restaurant starts singing along. That's the thing about Happy Birthday. So I wasn't even exposed because everyone was like, I really got everyone involved. Everyone was going, Happy Birthday. It became a bacchanalian affair. It was brilliant, man. The French guy was more embarrassed than me. I went into sort of like a mode with it. I was like insane. And afterwards I said, right, now here's Cat Stevens. No, I didn't. But it was... Man, I think it was just the perfect solution. It really got me out of the situation, you know?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Did you continue to play What Are the Odds after that? Or is that, have you checked out now? Is that you sort of hanging your boots up, as it were?
I think that's probably my greatest What Are the Odds victory. I don't think I'll be able to reach those heights again. But I'm open to coming out of retirement. If maybe a Tripology listener sees me in the wild, maybe come at me with a What Are the Odds? I'd be willing to play for the right stake, you know? And I always come through on my What Are the Odds victories and my losses. So if you do come at me, expect some retaliatory fire.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk a little bit about What Are the Odds, because it is something that is played often by backpackers. And if we can try and, I don't know, sort of perpetuate this culture of making sure that you go through with What Are the Odds. If you're going to play it, you know the rules and go through with it, much in the same way you might go 100% at a costume party.
Yeah.
You know, costume parties, fancy dress, they're amazing when everyone goes all in. Invariably, there are a couple of people that, they got the invitation late, or they couldn't think of anything, or they just don't give two shits. But, you know, when people go all out, when they are people of their word, it's amazing, the results.
And you've always got the option not to play. That's the thing about What Are the Odds. You can always say, I don't want to play What Are the Odds, but the second you open that door and you go, 1 in 7 million, there's always a chance. There's always a chance. So be careful. Be careful what you say the odds are, and come through with your delivery.
Yeah, you better have a Happy Birthday up your sleeve. That's amazing, man. I loved it. I wish I was there. Is there a video? Is there a video somewhere on the internet that we can see?
One might exist. I reckon that on some sort of stranger's TikTok or something, they might have posted sort of British man plays Happy Birthday to French onlookers. Maybe Google some search terms, but I don't know. I certainly didn't take one. One of my friends took one, but you never know what's out there on the internet.
I know.
So there we go, mate. Since then, I've had a real wild time. I got on a plane, obviously. I left Brazil. I'm doing a little pit stop out here in the UK because I've got some big adventures planned for 2025.
Goodness.
Sometimes you need to, don't you? Sometimes I looked at my bag, I looked at my clothes, I looked at my toiletries situation, and I thought, do you know what, man? I just need a fucking delivery. So I'm here in the UK, getting resupplied, getting some new stuff, getting everything fixed, and I'm going to be ready to go again soon.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, mate. And just doing stuff like that, it really does set you up for success, doesn't it, in the future? I mean, it's maybe logistically not the easiest thing to do, but sometimes I know what it's like back home. You can get, as you've said, all your deliveries, even if you've got to do some life admin stuff, quality of life stuff, like go to a doctor's, go to see a dentist, all this kind of thing. It's really difficult to keep up with that sort of stuff when you're traveling full time.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say about my teeth or my health? I'm in tip-top shape, Adam. It's just logistical things like toiletries and clothes. I don't need to go to the doctors. I don't need to go to the dentist. Everything's fine.
Well, I actually went to the doctors a few times when I was in India, and I remember learning about the system there, because it's rapid. If you, I know there's such a thing as health tourism, which I'm not sure we're encouraging right now, but
Yeah.
I remember speaking to a friend of mine saying that I might go and see a doctor, and they said, "Yeah, you just phone them up. You'll probably be there in half an hour." I was like, "Yeah, sure." They were like, "No, seriously. You can just phone them up, and you'll probably get an appointment within half an hour." And I couldn't even get there in half an hour. It was amazing, really.
Yeah, oftentimes these sorts of things are much more convenient in other places on a pay-as-you-go level, aren't they? It's like one of those things about traveling. Sometimes you can get things done easier away. Sometimes it's easier to come home. I used to see travel as like this marathon thing where I'd go as long as I can with the money that I have, keep on going, no coming back. But now I think, like, even if you're running a marathon, you're allowed to stop at a water station, splash some cold stuff on your face. So I come home to the UK for a few weeks, just resupply, restock, recuperate, have some home cooking, and then blast off again. There's no harm in doing that,
No, not at all. And much like you, like what you've just sort of said there, I've been thinking recently about sustainability and sustainable travel and keeping this thing going for a long time. And, when it comes to getting jobs, earning money, and then quitting the jobs and spending all that money, maybe the holy grail is sort of some digital nomad hybrid type thing, passive income, if that's ever in our future. But when I look back and think that every single year or, every 6-month period, I've thought you can't keep doing this. It's not sustainable. Well, we've now been on the road for 10, nearly 11 years. So it kind of is.
Yeah, you need to take some breaks. And you know what as well? There's some good stuff in the UK. I've had quite a good time. I went all the way to London. I stayed with a friend in London. Went to the British Museum, the National History Museum, the National Art Gallery. There's like a lot of fun stuff to see. You can see all the stolen shit that we've accumulated from other countries. So many times, like when I was in Athens and when I was in Egypt, and so often you see a plaque saying, "Oh, this is where the bust of Ramses II would be, but for the fact it's in the British Museum. Oh, here are where these beautiful marble statues, the marbles of Elysus, would be, but for the fact they're in the British Museum." So it's nice to go and see them in the British Museum, isn't it? And think, "Oh, wouldn't that look good in that place that I once was?"
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, do we know what's happening in the back end there? Do we know sort of the bilateral agreements, or maybe there's a contract?
They're just stolen, Adam. There is no bilateral agreement or contract. They're just taken. There was a big Easter Island head in the British Museum looking all noble, and it literally said on a plaque underneath, "Yeah, we took this way back when. Easter Island has sent a committee asking for it back, and they brought a pot of dirt that it came from as an offering. And here's the pot of dirt as well. We took that and all. Get away!"
Yeah. God, there's a famous James Acaster bit actually where he goes, "Sorry, we're still looking at it."
Yeah, exactly. They are still looking at it. I was looking at it, and probably not okay, that really, isn't it? If you deeply, deeply think about it, probably not that cool of us. I went to the National Art Gallery as well. Do you know what I find funny about that? Is that everyone looks at the piece of art that they think they're supposed to look at. It's remarkable.
Right. Yeah, so go on. Is there one specific piece of art you're talking about?
Well, in the National Art Gallery, there's like Van Gogh's Sunflowers, right?
Yeah.
And you walk into that room and people are literally walking up to it, taking a photo, staring for a moment, and then fucking off in a manner that can only be described as absolutely mental, because it's just the one that they've heard of.
Yeah.
They don't care about it. There's an objectively better Van Gogh 2 feet to the right of it that I didn't see one person even glance at. But because they've seen Sunflowers, heard of it as a vague cultural reference, they just go, look at it, think, "I've seen that now," and then move on to another place. And it makes me think, I see that a lot when I'm traveling in general. People looking at Machu Picchu exclusively through the lens of their phone. People going up to the Taj Mahal, pinching the top of it, and then leaving through the exit. It's this weird like genre of travel and tourism I really just don't relate to at all. I don't get it.
Yeah. How long do you need to have looked at a painting or of a beautiful vista or anything before you can then move on to say you've sort of seen it.
Why are you doing things because you're supposed to do them all the time? Why are you trying to do things that you're supposed to do? Do things that you want to do. If you don't want to come to the National Gallery, you don't have to go. You don't need to go to the National Gallery if you're not interested in it. Why are you just looking at the thing that everyone's told you you're supposed to be interested in? Do something else.
Yeah, I think that question probably extends much further than just travel, though, doesn't it? I think a lot of people are doing what they think they're supposed to do as opposed to what they actually want to do.
Yeah, I guess. And then they're showing that picture to someone else and they're going, oh, you'll never guess what I saw. It's that painting that you've also heard of. It's Van Gogh's Sunflowers. Or is it just there on their phone? What are they doing with it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, also the experience. When I was at the Louvre, I saw the Mona Lisa, obviously. And I remember walking into the room. I'm not sure I even knew that it was there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And there were, let's say 100 people huddled around it, some people trying to stretch their arm over the top and take a photo. And I just thought the experience of trying to even view it at any distance where I can discern what the textures are like on the painting, now and all this sort of stuff and see the detail. I just thought it looks horrible. It looks horrible to be in that crowd vying for a position. So I just thought, oh, fuck it. Moved on.
Yeah, man. People will always take pictures. The Mona Lisa will always be busy. And Nomadic Matt ain't even that nomadic. 3 pillars of truthful travel facts that can never, ever be changed and will always be perpetually true. Oh, what a lovely episode of Tripology Podcast. On the next episode, we're going to hear more about New Zealand. It's going to be a great plethora of adventures from your side of the fence. We've got an Instagram account at Tripology Podcast and a website, tripologypodcast.com. You can send us an email there to the Hostel Common Room. We'll actually reply. Me or Adam will sit at our computer and go, ooh, here's a nice reply to that email.
Yeah, wonderful stuff, mate. And now we're going to go off to the Lost and Found section on patreon.com/Tripology Podcast, where I'm going to tell a little story to Alun about some lighting equipment and a very shrewd Chinese businessman.
Oh my God, let's learn about it. It costs only $1 or something like that. If you go to patreon.com, you can find out exactly how much it costs. And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you there. Bye.